So influence in wrestling comes from everywhere. You could even hear some wrestlers in interviews talk about this and say they heard a song lyric and it totally changed their career. Certain characters in pop culture are always going to be a constant for this, and of course, who is back in the news right now? It's the Joker, because there's a brand new Joker movie, and nope, sports entertainment hasn't missed on this one either. I mean, the Joker in the Joker 2 isn't even the only Joker in the current DC universe, which is intended to melt your brain. So let's go into pro wrestling and find some individuals who took advantage of this. And no, you're probably going, oh, Simon, why haven't you dressed up? I'm not going to do it. Let's go. Number 13, Sting. I mean, he was cool. Joker Sting, and he even had the face paint, so forget about it. It was based off Heath Ledger's version 2, which makes all the sense in the world, because obviously The Dark Knight was a massive success. And also, this is when Steve Borden went to TNA, and he probably looked at himself in the mirror and said, do you remember that time I changed my character and it was a huge success? Why don't I do it again? This just proves how smart Sting was as well, because now if you do want to watch his WCW stuff and you want to watch his TNA stuff, there's a deliberate line drawn down the middle of it. As ever, the man played it perfectly, complete with an over-the-top laugh, and he was even trying to be the good guy here, because he thought he could bring Hulk Hogan back to the side of the light. Both in terms of in the ring and out the ring, it seems to be borderline impossible with 12 Seth Rollins. So this is another guy that has tipped his toe into this world, and it all came after that 2019 Hell in a Cell match with Bray Wyatt. Seth Rollins was so damn lost, he had to start again. This is why he started with the laugh and he got the crazy clothes, and he also started to call himself a visionary. Now, if you had read any Batman graphic novel, when the Joker does turn up, well, that's how he talks. It also worked perfectly as well, because eventually it did take Seth back to being a babyface. And also, the Joker 2 has musical elements, and Seth Rollins loves getting the people to sing his song. Also, you can even see him doing the Joker dance from the original movie, so let's not pretend Rollins doesn't know what he's doing. He planned this out from the beginning. Number 11, Rey Mysterio. And one of the cool things about Rey Mysterio is he does change his ring gear all of the time, and he has done loads of comic book characters, so eventually he was going to get to the Joker. WrestleMania 25 was his chosen date, and he too copied the Heath Ledger version, although here he was trying to beat JBL for the Intercontinental title. A little bit weird. He also did it again in the 2019 Survivor Series, where he cosplayed the Joaquin Phoenix iteration, and yes, he's been Batman too. That just means he's like playing both sides, right? That ain't cool. Number 10, Penta El Zero. So I will tell you this, in terms of ring gear and kind of rating them on a scale of 1 to 10, I think every single time Penta knocks it out the park. He has followed in Rey's footsteps too, because he's always changing it up, and he was even Venom once. On a different day, that's right, he came out as the Joker. He has done this a lot, but I think the most famous one was during the Casino Battle Royale at Double or Nothing 2021, mostly because the internet conned onto it and they loved it. He was also grouped in the Heart section of that match, and again, he was trying to be the Crown Prince of Gotham, so you can see how this all ties in. It's also sort of hilarious too when he does go crazy in the ring, because I've read a lot of Batman graphic novels, but I don't think I've ever seen the Joker dish out a super kick followed by a Canadian destroyer. Batman could no-sell that, and I could watch the chaos unfold. We should probably do that as a story arc. Number 9, Preston Vance. So this is a bit of a random entry, but it happened. Now, Preston Vance was mostly known for his work in AEW, where he did join the Dark Order as 10, and as such, he began to wear a mask because he wanted to be all spooky-wooky. Amazingly, too, he also came out as the Joker in the 2021 Casino Battle Royale, so this was either a choice or those two guys did not talk to each other. I mean, you can see right here the obvious connections, but I also kind of think Preston had a plan here, because around this time too, he got absolutely bludgeoned by Jon Moxley, so he kind of looked like the Joker, but he had blood going everywhere. And once again, you could imagine seeing that in a movie. When Vance turned heel as well, he even dropped the whole you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. But listen, he's either a Batman fan or somebody fed him that line. Going with the former. Number 8, Finn Balor. So we haven't seen the Demon persona in WWE for a while, which I actually think has been quite smart. Kind of got to a stage where nobody knew what to do with that thing. Let it rest. Finn Balor brought this to the table though, because he totally understood the power of wearing different things. Go back to the time where he was Prince Devitt, and he would do this all the time, even on the indies. I mean, he has done Darth Maul, he's done Bane, he's done Freddy Krueger, and way back in 2014, Finn went for the Joker. Now, this was super cool too, because he did it at UK Promotion Progress, where I wrestle at today, and he was also taking on Zack Sabre Jr. Look how far they've come. As you can probably figure out as well from the date, this is one of Balor's last appearances before he did go to WWE. Maybe because he knew, well, I can't go this far. If I do go to the big leagues, he timed that right. Number 7, Bray Wyatt. The real-life Wyndham Rotunda was one special performer. I mean, the way his brain worked, he was so damn creative. I don't think we're ever going to see anyone like him again. He was also strongly influenced by movies, which is why when he originally became the Eater of Worlds, he went to the film Cape Fear. He basically ripped off Robert De Niro, and I mean that as a compliment. Eventually, WWE went and screwed that up, so Bray had to reinvent himself as The Fiend. And as we all know, the famous part of that was the mask. And just go and look at it, especially the mouth area. Pretty sure I know where he got that idea from. In case you don't know, it definitely looks like the grin from the Killing Joke graphic novel, and I really hope that is true, because it just means this persona, once again, is just drowning in the things that Bray Wyatt did love, which is another reason why we're never getting another like him. The dude just got it. Number 6, Alexa Bliss. And it also helped Alexa Bliss, because again, when she teamed up with Bray Wyatt, don't you come into my house and tell me she wasn't trying to be Harley Quinn. She absolutely was. It never developed into a romantic relationship like it does in the comics, but those two would run around creating chaos. At one point, Alexa was even using an overly large comical hammer. This was also totally different to the character she had been playing in NXT. The big question is when we get to WrestleMania 37, and Bliss turned on Bray Wyatt, and nobody ever told us why. Kind of bothersome that, but hey, also sums up the old regime. They did this a lot. Number 5, Ruby Soho and Liv Morgan. So the Riot Squad was influenced by the Suicide Squad. I mean, it happened when that movie came out. And also, there's plenty of stories out there where these two have said, yeah, Vince McMahon came to us and said, hey, why don't you borrow some stuff from the film? So Ruby Soho and Liv Morgan really lent into that, and they borrowed from the Joker and Harley Quinn. Go look at their WrestleMania 37 gear. I guess you could say that's when it peaked. Now, it kind of feels like Liv Morgan has continued to run with this ever since, especially when it comes to the eyeshadow, but also look at the relationship she has with Dominic Mysterio. Once again, I think it's been inspired by it. Morgan is also constantly looking for revenge. So once again, don't listen to me. Go and read the comics. Number 4, Charlotte Flair and Andrade. So this one is a little bit weird because we have to go to Instagram and I suppose 2 wrestlers' personal lives, but they did put it out there and they did make a big song and dance about it. Also, it was very well done. It was for Halloween 2019 when Flair did indeed dress up as Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, whereas thankfully Andrade went for the Arthur Fleck version of the Joker. We don't need to see any more of Jared Leto. I'm pretty sure Andrade is a big Batman fan too, because of course he still comes to the ring wearing a black mask. There is a Batman enemy called the Black Mask. That also ties into his Mexican heritage, so I tell you. Once again, this guy totally gets it. Number 3, Danhausen. So this one is cool because it comes down to thinking about your character. I mean, Danhausen is just an anomaly anyway, because this guy has a crazy fan base. And look at all the merch he sells. Talk about somebody who went, I can take advantage of the wrestling business. It really is awesome to see though, because that guy just understands his audience, which is why eventually it led him to appearing on the Conan O'Brien podcast. I mean, that's some good hustling. They eventually got into the Persona 2 where Danhausen said, yes, especially when it comes to the voice, I was inspired by the Joker, specifically the animated series, when the Clown Prince was voiced by none other than Mark Hamill. As a quick aside, that is an all-time performance. Danhausen has also kind of appeared on a Batman comic originally drawn by Neil Adams, because illustrator Bill Morrison went, hey man, do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to rework this one, and who is going to be front and center looking over Gotham? Danhausen. So come on, man. That is just the coolest thing ever. And why we all love that Danhausen. Number 2, Crazy Steve. Now, Crazy Steve has never outwardly come out and said that he is influenced by the Joker, but if he's not, well, he's done it by accident. Because as you would assume, given the name, Steve is an absolute maniac that also paints his face. So I'm just going to sit here and let you figure it out. Like, if you released him into Gotham, he'd probably try and blow up a building. He also got his own partner in crime in the form of Rosemary, who also has this kind of kooky edge to her. And look at their group decay. Once again, it's kind of drowning in graphic novelness. So I say this as a compliment, but I think they're kind of tightroping as close to the IP as they can without stepping over. But that's what you should do in other forms of entertainment. It makes you relatable. So I really think that more people should do stuff like this, because if you are a comic book fan and then you see these two on your TV, you're just gonna go, well, I think I should just watch a little bit more. Number 1, Doink the Clown. No, I'm not talking about Doink the Clown that a lot of people remember from the mid and late 90s. I am talking about the one just before that. It was originally played by Matt Bourne. Because if you go watch some footage now, man, he plays this as the most flubbed up clown ever. Like you're never going to be ringing this guy saying, oh, can you come do my kid's pie? Now, obviously, he's been influenced by It here, but just given the demeanor and how, well, creepy he is, I think the Joker must have been brought into this. The real truth is that in 2010, Bourne played it once again for ISPW, and obviously he wasn't allowed to use the name Doink, but it just looked like Heath Ledger's the Joker. Draw a line under it, we're done. Even way back in the early 90s, though, you wouldn't have been out of your mind to suggest this. And hey, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I'm going to tell you right now, my friends, I'm not. Now, of course, please do drop me a line below and just talk about all the comic book creations that have inspired wrestlers. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And if you would like some more wrestling trivia, where I'm not wearing a sexy outfit, click the video on screen right now. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you. That has got to come off because it's way too hot. Take care, and I'll see you soon.